Joins us now. Brian, tomorrow is the anniversary of President Trump's inauguration, and the government is shutting down. That can't be what he wants.
No, that's not the memory you want of 365 days of your presidency. It's got to be a terribly bittersweet situation at the White House tonight.
Brian, how do you see this playing out?
We have to see a compromise. And it's very interesting when you consider that this country was built on compromise, and yet tonight we saw a failure of that. And that's not something the American people can put up with for very long. So these two parties are going to have to come together and come to a solution on this.
Right after the vote, they couldn't get enough votes to get the budget deal. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell came out, blamed the Democrats. Then Chuck Schumer came out, blamed the Republicans. What's it going to take? Where's the incentive going to be to get these lawmakers to come together to reach a deal? They can't just keep kicking this down the road.
Right. The one saving grace of tonight was that there were a lot of conversations going on behind the scenes. So I'm guessing that there has been some movement around where a solution could be achieved, but they couldn't do it in time. Eventually, we have to come to a place where you are not doing these continuing resolutions that just, as you say, kick the can down the road a little bit. You need to come up with a budget. It's got to be something that's more long-lasting. Otherwise, this is going to be the chaos that goes on here.
Brian, where is the leadership on both sides, and why is it so difficult these days to come up with a compromise? Compromise is what you have to do, and as you said, at some point here, they're going to have to compromise. You can't keep the government shut down forever. We all know it's coming.
Yeah, we're really in a polarized state right now, and we're seeing it in Washington, D.C. And the thing that you observe is that both parties want a complete victory, and that's very alarming. Most times in government, you take a piece of it. You sometimes win more, you sometimes don't get as much, but you walk away and play another day. This appears tonight to be, we want it all, or we're not playing. And that has really been the dividing line in this debate today.
We did learn a little bit today. Senator Schumer went to the White House to meet with the president today before the vote. He said tonight that he put the border wall on the table if the DACA deal would go through. Your thoughts on that? That
was a very interesting thing he said. And we know that when he went to see the president, they had what both said were good discussions. But nothing came out of it, and that's alarming on one level, because it means that we're going to have these continuing debates and arguments that don't achieve a solution.
Why do both sides have to continually add things on? The Democrats saying, we will do this if we get a deal on DACA. The Republicans say, we will do this if we get our border wall. Why can't they just do it without all of the additions?
Well, that's the $64,000 question for the American public. But Washington runs in an odd way, always has. And again, what we're seeing, Frank, more than maybe in past years, is this I have to win it all mentality. And so for the Democrats in this particular situation, DACA was important because they didn't know if they were going to get much DACA reform in the next 4 or 5 weeks. They needed to see if they could put it into this deal tonight. For Republicans, they also had a few things that they wanted that the Democrats didn't want.
Brian, before we let you go, the farther this goes out, obviously political consequences for both parties. What are the biggest political risks going into this if they don't get a deal sooner rather than later?
Well, I think there will be consequences in the midterm elections if the Republicans end up absorbing the fault here for not making this happen. Remember, the president's a Republican, the Senate's controlled by Republicans, and the House is controlled by Republicans, although sometimes you need greater numbers to make something pass.
And in the meantime, the American people, the government workers, lose out. Brian?
Absolutely,
yeah.
Yep.
Well, there's still hope. They say there's possibility of a vote tomorrow.
Yeah, that's important.
Noon.
That's important. Nobody has left Washington, D.C. The House is ready to vote, so they haven't left Washington, D.C., and tomorrow morning they'll be back at it.
All right, Brian, thank you.